Welcome to the Resilient Teen Podcast. I'm Phoenix, and in today's episode, it was super amazing. I did just want to throw in before we get into the video that the actual video, like of us on the call, was a little choppy, so I took a screenshot from the call, and it just plays all the way through. So you can't see any video, but you can hear the audio, and bro, let me say, it is an absolute banger. I did throw in some pictures and some other things in there, so if you are watching, there's still some things for you to see, but all in all, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Let's get into it. Yo, what's good, guys? Welcome to the Resilient Teen Podcast. In today's episode, we are talking about lessons we have experienced throughout life. So I decided to bring someone who is further along, has been through many tough times, and can give us guidance and wisdom. Enzo?
Hi guys, my name's Enzo. You probably never heard of me, but I'm a guy who's been through a lot of hard times in my life, and I've managed to beat every single one of them, and I'm still fighting until this day. And I think I'll give you some great insight on how to go throughout life, and hopefully you'll take some lessons from me and apply them into your life.
Awesome, Enzo. Happy to have you on. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
So, I'm Enzo. I'm 19 years old. I currently live in UK. And throughout my life I've been through a lot of problems, and that's why we go in touch with each other, I think, because I've seen your content, and I've seen myself in you. And because of that, I decided to send you an email, and now here I am with you on this little podcast that we're gonna do, and hopefully we're gonna help the public.
Hopefully, man. That's our only goal, man. With this video and us talking about everything we've been through, so hopefully that someone, maybe that's just the same age or younger, can just see this and think twice about the things that they're doing. Because I know for me, I was hanging around with dumb kids when I was a lot younger, and that really could have affected my reputation. So let's see if we can help you guys through this.
Same exact thing for me. Same exact thing for me. When I was younger, I spent time with the wrong people, but now I keep my circle tight and move better in life because of it.
So where'd you grow up? Did you always grow up in the UK?
So I didn't grow up in the UK. I actually grew up in Romania. I was originally born in Italy though, so I did kind of travel a lot. I've been in the UK for the past 6 years, and now I've settled here quite well, I would say. I've finished school here. I finished college, or whatever you guys call it there in America, and now I'm doing my own thing.
So what do you do?
So right now I help legal documents, of course, and I'm soon looking to opening a charity for single mothers who's gonna help them with life, emotional support, and maybe have their kids become friends with other kids.
That's awesome. So speaking of like mothers and stuff, so what was your childhood like?
My childhood was a lot of war in my childhood. My mom and dad always fought over. They always had arguments, and it was just a lot of abusive relationship that I've seen in front of my eyes. But I didn't let that bring me down, and eventually my parents did divorce, and now I just live with my mom. I still speak to my dad from time to time, but because of the fact that I lived with my mom most of my life, I am more on my mom's side. And that's why this charity is gonna help single mothers, because I've seen the struggle that my mom's been through, and I had the struggle I have been through because of this divorce, and I want to help people. I really want to do that.
That's awesome, bro. That's really so who was your role model then? Like besides your mother, like when you were growing up, right? So who would you say that you're like someone you really looked up to was after that time?
I did. Unfortunately, I didn't have a role model because I I I couldn't find anyone that I could look up to. Everyone around me was not who I wanted to be. At the time, I had people around me who did drugs every day, drank a lot of alcohol, and that's just not the type of people you want to look up to. You don't want to look up to them. And I didn't quite have a role model. Obviously, my mom was a very big role model, but you said anyone except my mom.
Hmm.
So because of that, I cannot really give you any role models because I didn't have anyone.
So after your parents divorced, did you stay in Romania or did you move to the UK?
After my parents divorced, we decided to move to another country, and my mom gave me two choices. Which one would I love more, to move in UK or to move back into Italy? And it's gonna sound stupid, but I said let's move to England because I like the language more, and I want to learn English. I came here speaking no English whatsoever, and in 3 months' time I've learned a decent amount of English to the point where I could communicate with people. And this is now 6 years later, and I think I speak pretty well compared to other people that I know.
Well, that's cool. So when you came to the UK, like who did did you have any family here? Like how did you guys like get settled down in the UK? Because I know for me, I couldn't imagine moving to another country, having to like get new friends or having to like where are we gonna live or like what job am I gonna do? Like so like how did your family work around that?
Yeah, so when we moved here, my mom has tried to contact some family that we do have here. However, they turned their back on us. So because of that, we decided to just freestyle it and go on Facebook Marketplace, look for a guy who's or someone who's renting a room out, and just move to a stranger. And that was maybe a blessing in disguise. I'm not quite sure what to call it, but we had a rough start here. It wasn't the best start. When we came here after 3 months, when I after 3 months, yes, after I got accepted into school on the same day, we came back, and the guy we lived at, changed the lock on the door. Now I'm pretty sure it's kind of hard at the time because neither me or my mom we were we didn't speak the best English ever, and we were in a completely different country. The family turned their back on us, so we basically had no one. And for that time, 3 days in a row, I had to sleep on the streets while I was going at school, and it was a hard time. I was charging my phone at McDonald's, and at night time I was walking around because I was scared to sleep on the streets because who knows what's gonna happen. My mom was working nighttime, and at daytime she was trying to find a house. And then eventually we did find something, but that also went terribly wrong a few months later when they kicked us out of the house again. So, and this time it was more aggressive from their side towards us. Now, as you can see, this isn't the best start, but I still didn't let this bring me down, and neither did my mom.
That's awesome. So like renting a room, is that pretty common or is that like you just like have you like in Romania, like is that pretty common like where you're from?
In Romania, if you look on the stats, there is 98% of people that own their own property. So this is not very common in Romania. However, here in UK is very common where people just rent out a room and they call it a share house, just due to the fact that here expenses are so high and everything is so high to the point where you can barely afford to live here. Due to that, this here is very common. That's why we decided to do that for the first few months, just so we can start up. Eventually, we did rent our own place after. Uh, so we came here to a stranger, then we moved to some gypsy family that kicked us out on Christmas because some other family came over. But this time we were able to sleep in the car, and after that we decided to rent our own little apartment, and we ourselves rented out 2 rooms.
That's awesome. So like how did you like you said like you had to sleep on the streets and then they changed the locks like what like so like what were those 3 days like on the streets, especially from being on the streets at night and then going to school in the morning? Like how did that all like take a toll on you?
Because of my young age at the time, keep in mind I was only 13 at the time when this happened. It was quite a fun experience for me, even though it shouldn't be. For me at the time, I found it funny how at night I have to walk around. Obviously, it was very scary for me because at 13, being on the streets, it's not the best experience you can have, and it's not something I would wish on anyone. But I did keep my head up, and I think that helped a lot. It's it wasn't the best the best 3 days, but I couldn't let that bring me down, and I always was with my head up, and I just saw it as a positive experience that can build me in the future.
That's awesome. Wow, I couldn't imagine. Like in a country you how long did you live in the UK like before you went on the streets?
Just 3 months.
Wow.
3 months.
See, I just want to make sure that I was tracking. That's crazy, dude. So like you
Oh
barely spoke English and just dealt with it. Did a lot of people
yes.
like speak
Barely spoke
Romanian?
English. Didn't know anyone. A lot of Romanians here where I live in my area, but like I said again, this isn't helpful. Like having a lot, because there are different type of Romanians, and they this just it wasn't helpful. They're not really helping. So we just had to find our own way around it.
So what was school like? You came here from like a Romanian school, right? And then you came to UK. Like how was your first couple of days in a environment you had no
Yes.
idea?
In the first few days, I was very lonely, and I have experienced a lot of racism here due to the fact that I'm a foreigner. I am not British, and I do respect their country. I respect the culture, and if I didn't, I wouldn't be here. But to be honest, in schools, if you're a foreigner, you do experience a lot of racism. I have experienced it myself. Teachers looked at me differently. I was treated a lot more differently by the teachers, by the head of the years, by the principals, just because I lived, not because I am, but because I lived in Romania before I came to UK. And it is a very sad truth, but for the first for the first year, until I proved myself that I am not just a foreigner, I can be better than that. Until then, it was a quite rough few months at school.
So you said you were lonely. So like obviously like no friends. I'm sure like a lot like especially with all the racism and people like treat, treating you poorly. Like so how did you deal with that? Like because I know it affects you mentally, but like how did you persevere and what was like your motivation?
So I decided to go through that in a very specific way. I decided to, rather than trying to prove myself to the other uh, class students or whatever you guys call it there, I decided to just focus on the work and show the teachers that I'm good and improve on myself, on my English. So if someone says something to me, I can explain to them, guys, just because I'm from this country or because I came from this country, that does not make me A or B. I came here and I'm trying to build my future here. I should be treated correctly. Now I understand this is not always the scenario, so I did distance myself from the people who are small-minded and cannot go for the fact past the fact that some foreigners don't come here just to mess up their countries. And I decided, and I made a few friends. I've made one friend that I still have until this day, but I haven't had many friends in school, in my primary, not primary, secondary school or whatever you call it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had many friends, only one, and I stuck with that friend until this day.
Well, so how many friends would you say that you had like during that time that you thought were your true friends at the time?
During that time, at the time, like I said, at the time it was quite hard for me to make true friends. But later in life, when I turned 16 and I was in sixth form, which is the equivalent of you going to a college, that's when I learned the big lesson of people are not really your friends. And that's a lesson a lot of people miss or learn too late or just miss it completely in their life.
Yeah, so during that time, how many like during the time right you just like you were 16 and like did you hang around with a lot of people?
So at 16, it was the peak of my um, experience when it came to relationships with other people my age. At 16, I was the only guy who drove and had a car in my school, and because of that, I had a lot of people who tried to be friends with me. And at the time, I had a very big group of friends. We were like maybe 11, 12 all the time. And I thought I was the man. I thought, look at me, I have so many good friends around me. They're gonna help me no matter what. Truth is, they're not. They were just friends with me because of the car. Now, for some of the guys out here watching, they might not have a car, or but they still might have a lot of friends. Now, everyone has a different way of realizing who their friends are, but in my experience, it was when my car got taken due to a misunderstanding with the police. They took my car, and when they took my car, I've told my friends, look, I had lost my car. And in those 2 days that I didn't have my car, that's when everyone stopped talking to me, and that's when I realized that they're not really my friends. Now, some of you will not have the same experience, but there will be moments in your life when you'll see who your true friends are and who are not. Maybe it's gonna be a relationship. Maybe you're gonna be with a girlfriend, and then you have a little argument, and then your best friend goes talk to your girlfriend. That's a way of betrayal. You'll see these little betrayals in everyone around you, but because you think they're your friends, you'll just miss it, or you'll just ignore it. But in reality, these little things really matter, and I've done the mistake of ignoring them, and then I was proven wrong. Why did I ignore that? It was clearly there, and I just chose to ignore it. So my experience through how I found out who my friends were and who my friends weren't is gonna be a lot different than your experience. And I'm pretty sure your experience is probably different, because I'm assuming you had something similar where you realized that your friends weren't really your friends.
Yeah, I was in like my elementary school, which is like kindergarten through sixth grade. I was like pretty popular, you know. Like I switched schools and I still became popular. And I was just like a troublemaker. I thought like fighting was super fun, so kids would like bully me, and then I'd antagonize them to fight me, and then like I'd destroy them. I was in jujitsu, so like I was trained how to fight. So like like it was fun. I would look cool, right? Everyone wanted to be friends, so we were all friends. And then seventh grade, I got pulled out of school, and my parents put me in homeschool. Right, I started working, and truthfully, I didn't talk to no one from school ever talked to me again. It was just that was it. So for me, that was where I learned like I thought all these kids that I was cool with were gonna stay cool with me, and then you kind of they just don't reach out, or they don't talk to you, and those. So for me, I kind of like got taken out of school, and then that's when I realized that the people I was hanging with weren't actually my friends. They were there because it was convenient, but after that, it was like, let's stay popular in school, not much as like staying good friends. That was my experience. So with you, after those 2 days, your car got taken. I was gonna ask you, like, what did you do after that? Like, after no one was talking to you, did you still continue to hang out with them, or did you kind of like drop them?
So for a while, I did try to give them another chance. I do like giving people another chance, because that's just how I am. I'm a nice person. Now with time, I did change that, but at the time I loved the idea of giving people a second chance. So after I got my car back, I still talked to some of them, but I could just see the energy has changed, because I saw their real faces and they knew I saw it. So now they were just playing a little facade where they pretended to be my friends and pretended like nothing happened. And they started coming up with these little excuses of, oh sorry I was busy, oh sorry my head was somewhere else, oh these little useless excuses, useless. They just came up with them on the spot. I could tell they knew I knew, so it was just a weird energy. So for a few weeks I did talk to them still, but after that I started cutting down on everyone, and I mean aggressively. I cut down with almost everyone I used to spend my time with. I used to cut almost everyone off just because of that. And I know some people might call me crazy because I've done that, but it has helped me a lot. You guys gotta understand. Maybe some of you understand this. the people I sat with at the time, they were not a good influence. They weren't high quality people. They were people who gathered around every day, started smoking weed and drinking alcohol, and they call that fun. Now for me that's not fun. I've never done any alcohol, and I've never had any weed or type of drugs in my life. And they many times try to pressure me into doing it, but because I'm mentally strong, I always said no. Now, not everyone is um not gonna give in.
Hmm.
I know a lot of examples in my life where I've known people who never done any drugs or any alcohol, and because of their friend group, they started drinking or they started smoking. And I'm not trying to sound like a dad. I'm not trying to be parenting, but that is the truth. Your friends influence you a lot, and they tried to influence me. I didn't like that, and they weren't good people, so I stopped chilling with them. Now you might be like, oh yeah, they might smoke weed, or they might do drugs, or they might drink alcohol, but they're very nice to be around. And you have to ask yourself, what's there nice to be about? To hang around with them, what's nice about it? You hang with them, they're not mentally stable because they're basically on drugs or on alcohol. And if you do a little bit on research, that messes up with your brain. So eventually, you're not really with them. You're with someone who they become after they use this alcohol or whatever they use. You're not really you're not really seeing their true face. You're just seeing what they put up, and there's not someone you have to be friends with. It's not gonna be beneficial in the future. Let's say, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people who's gonna watch this, they want to do something for the future. Now, if you want to build a business or something, uh, along the same area, and then you hang out with people who do drugs or who are basically just degenerates, how is everyone else gonna look at you? Are they gonna think are they gonna want to do some? Are they going to want to do something with you, or they're gonna look at you and be like, he hangs out with these losers. He's probably a loser himself. You have to think about that.
Yeah. I like what you said. I'm not trying to be your dad. So with that, right? I'm sure, right? You were mentally strong, so you didn't give in. But do you regret not smoking? Do you regret not drinking, or you have no regrets about it?
I have no regrets. I don't like living in regrets, so I have no regrets. At no point did I give in, and at no point in the future will I give in, because I have morals, and I think a man without morals is nothing. Due to that, I built my morals when I was very young. As soon as I hit 14, I had my morals because I had to sit down and I wrote everything on a paper. And this is my morals. I'm gonna stick by them, and I memorized them by heart. I memorized them by word. I know everything. Every single thing is in my brain, and I'll never forget them. So everyone needs to sit down and have their morals written down, and then just stick to them. Because a man without morals is nothing, and everyone needs to know that.
Yeah, and a biblical saying is bad company corrupts good morals. So, like you said, like don't hang around with bad people. Not because like it's not cool. Because trust me, dude, there's people at my college, right, that are just people that I've seen in life, bro. That it's like, dude, these kids are losers. But like, dude, they're funny. I won't lie. That a lot of people that are dumb are funny. But it's like that bad company is going to corrupt your good morals. Whether maybe one day you will give in, or maybe like they're going to get in trouble and now you're automatically associated with it. Like it's better to just stay away, not because of. And like again, like we're not talking like for me. Like I've heard my parents tell me things, and I'm like, bro, you got no idea what happens. You have no idea what you're talking about, and then it happens exactly what they said it was, and then I'm like, oh crap. So I'm not talking to you like, oh, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. But from my experience, when I was hanging out with bad kids and I started becoming one, like you just end up giving in at one point or another, and in one way or another. You might not drink or do drugs, right? But maybe you're over there like doing some like, oh, like we're gonna like go like trash this Walmart, or we're gonna go like do this, like either way, like you guys are still gonna give in some way. So like it's better to hang around with high value people, because like perfect example, like my dad has always told me since I was young, if you show me your friends, I'm gonna show you your future. So if you're hanging out with, right, if you're listening to this podcast and you're hearing like, okay, this is what I want to be like, this is what I want to be like, right, you're hanging out in a way with good people like us, right? Not that we're perfect, but like that are on the right track, you will become like us on the right track. Whereas if you hang out with people who aren't trying to like have better their future, you're gonna end up like them. So like that's just some things to keep in mind. Not that we're telling you what to do, but this is why it's wise to hang out with better people. And I want to ask you, so you said you cut out a lot of people in your life. And for me, that's been super easy for me. I've seen people like, there was a situation where we ended up leaving this place. I don't want to give too much detail. And not a single person ever reached out. Maybe one text, but no one reached out, bro. Nobody. So I cut them all off. And it's crazy. Like, some people still, like, have either followed me or do follow me, and I don't follow back. Because it's like, if you're not worth it, like, if you aren't here from me, like, what is the follow gonna show? Like, I follow because it's meaningful. And for me, like, it's been easy to do that. But I know for some people, like, if you told them, yo, man, those friends you're hanging out with, cut it. Like, it would be super hard for them to do that. So, like, what would you tell someone, like, if they're like, dude, I have these friends that I want to hang out with, but on the other hand, I know I shouldn't be hanging out with them. Like, they're not beneficial. They're this and that. Like, what advice would you give them to tell them to, like, one, like, if they should cut them out, and two, like, how would you go about it, and like how do you build up that mentality to just, if they're not worth it, like, cut it out?
I think as a man or as a guy or whatever you want to consider yourself, first you'll have to talk to them about it, because that's what I tried. It's not always gonna work. Most of the time it's not gonna work because people do not like to change. But you have to tell them, look guys, I don't like this about you. Can we do something about it? They might say yes, they might say no. If they say yes and then they keep doing the same thing, then it's time to cut them off. I understand it's hard. A lot of people have told me, guys, yo Enzo, I wanna stop hanging out with these people, but I can't because we're in the same friend group with. I don't wanna hang out with this person, but then that person is in the friend group with everyone else. So because of that, I have to hang out with the person as well. Now, in those type of scenarios, you have to look at the whole group. Are those people really worth it? Because think about it. Would you rather choose a friend group who wants to stay with you and party, or let's have some fun and then start drinking alcohol or smoking weed? Or would you rather be with a group of people who maybe have their own businesses, have their own money, and they want something for their future? Which one would you choose? You have to compare these scenarios. You live in bubble A, look at the scenario in bubble B, and you'll see the difference. I know a very good example. I cannot name the person, but this person had so much potential, but wasted all of it on the wrong people. At the time, that guy I considered him to be my friend. Now later, he has betrayed me, but he had a lot of potential. Now, because of the people who he hung out with, that changed who he was. And this is very common. This is very common. And just, you have to compare these two. You have to really think about yourself. Why would you have to say this to yourself? You have to say, why the flipping whatever? Can I swear?
If you would like to, preferably I don't, but hey, if you would like to, then that's on you.
Why the hell do I want to hang out with some people who, let's say, in a friend group, people talk behind each other's back in the friend group? That's very common, I think. When you have a little friends group, but then they talk behind each other's back with someone else. I think that's very common.
Yeah, that's very
So
common.
let's say you are in one of those friend groups, and then let's say someone comes to you and complains to you about Michael, and then you sit there and you talk about Michael, and at the end, why does it not cross your head that maybe they're doing the same thing to you? Is that someone you really want to be in a friend group with? Is that someone you want to relate to? Is that someone you want to be presented to in front of other people? Because if you go out in public, let's say you have dreams for yourself, and you want to go in public and meet new people, important people maybe, but then you come up with those friends. Are they gonna be presentable? Can you show them out to people and be proud of your friends? Can you be proud of your friends? That's a question you have to think about.
15. All right. So we've had some technical difficulties, but we're back. We're back. So how would you suggest people finding better friends, better circle?
So this question is very important because a lot of people, and I really love that you asked that. A lot of people don't want to get out of their comfort zone because I was the same. I hated the fact that I did not know how to get to another friend, how to get another friend circle. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a tough position to be in because I was in a position where I don't like these friends, but how can I be in a friend group where I have the people who I want to have around me, people who want to make money, people who want to start a business or a hustle or something. And that was very hard for me to come to an answer. And eventually, my answer was just to try to get close to people who are important, one way or another, either by being very annoying and trying to see them every day, some way or another, and then hopefully get close to them. And eventually I started having dinners with them, and those dinners really helped in improving my network. And now I'm I know a lot of mayors, a lot of councillors, a lot of community leaders, and that's really helpful now. But at the time I didn't know, and this don't think this is a 1 day process. It took me 3 years to find this out. It didn't take me 1 day, it didn't take me 2 days. For 3 years I was alone. I was basically alone. And in these 3 years, every day I was thinking, okay, I need some friends, but I don't need this type of friends. I need good friends. How do I do it? How do I do it? So this is gonna be different for everyone, and this is the hardest part. Now, I understand some of you might be very social, but sometimes you have to do some sacrifices. And if being social with some degenerates is the sacrifice, then take it. Just take the sacrifice. It's much better, and if you come up with a solution, it's going to massively, and I mean massively, increase your life experience and your friendships and your network, because your network is the most important thing you should think about at a young age, especially. And whenever, whatever age you have, you still have to think about your network.
So you said you know mayors and councilors and a lot of city like community leaders. So how did you meet them? I know it's a long process, but like where did you go? Like how did you like what did you do to like put yourself in a room, I guess, with important people?
Yes, this again, like I said, this was a very hard question to answer myself because I had to ask myself when I first started, how can I be in the same room as them? And I went to some rich people's events. They had these events, and you had to pay to get in. It wasn't a big amount, but I paid to get in just so I can improve my network. It's like networking events. You have a lot of networking events anywhere in any country, and through those networking events, I managed to get a few people that are important, and when I found them, I stuck to them like Velcro. You know, I stuck on them, and I try to I try to help them as much as I can, just so they can help me back. And eventually, it got me to the stage where I'm now, when I'm having almost weekly dinners with important people, and basically increasing my network almost every week.
That's crazy, man. You're 19 and you're with tons of people that most 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds aren't even being able to get the chance to meet. So I think that's very awesome, and
Yeah.
that shows a lot of like, but it's all you, right? Having to pay to get into this event and having to like, find these people. So like of events, like how did you find out like these events existed? Because for me, I have never heard of an event like in my state of like networking. I haven't heard of anything like it. So like how did you like find out about it, and then what made you like, you know what, I'm gonna spend this money so that I'm able to go?
So, because of my interests in business and making money, my social media is very related to that. So, if I watch podcasts a lot, that's how I found you. And this one was talking about how they have networking events, and I was like, oh, what networking events? What's that? Let me search it up. And then once I searched it up, you have plenty of topics: property, finance, lawyers type of networking events. So there's a bunch of different topics of networking events that you can attend to. And I just chose the ones that I wanted and the ones that I thought were helpful for me, and started attending to them. Not don't get me wrong, I didn't attempt every week, but I tried at least once a month to go to a networking event, because at the end of the day it's not expensive. Maybe you pay £100, which comes to like $120, but then you meet. It's like a 3-day event. So for the 3 days, you get to meet all these people, and you get to meet, who knows, who maybe you'll get to stumble upon someone who can help you building your own network. And that's what happened to me. So it's just research. It comes down to basic research.
That's awesome. Yeah, see, so dude, I'm gonna write that down because that is something I need to look into because I've never like even thought about that. So that's good. Like for me personally, bro, I can't even lie. There is only, and I've told many people, if you guys go to Side Hustler University, literally all that information's in there. But I've told someone literally step by step. I've told many people, this is what you can do. This is your sales pitch. This is everything. And I've literally laid them out the information. And out of all the people I've told, I probably told about like 10 people that I've like come into contact with or word of mouth. And only one person, bro, only one person has actually put in the time to actually get a client. And dude, him and I are very close friends. He's a really good dude. And like, even for that, like, he's the only person I can say in my life right now who like I can hang out with. He's seriously the only person, bro, that I can like, who is as business minded as is desiring business. I couldn't think of anyone else. Like really, it's truthfully, you're not gonna find these people like at school, bro. Truthfully, and if they are at school, they stand out at school. So that would be someone to approach, right? But like truthfully, like you're not gonna find these people. Like it's not like easy. Like for you, you had to pay to go to an event, and you got to remember that event, everyone else is paying to get in to grow their network. So it's like obviously like because it costs money and because there's important people there, like that's where the network is. But like on your day to day life, it's kind of hard to find those people. So if you
Yes, on a
haven't,
day-to-day life.
and so like for me, man, like that's why like even the course, man, like this course that I have, I'm not trying to push a course, bro, but every single person that is in there is exactly like you. They want to grow their life. They want better people, right? Look at Enzo, man. Him and I have literally we've talked probably for about 5 hours before we've recorded this in the span of a couple days, and literally the only thing we've talked about is like, okay, wait, so you did this, like how did you do that, and how can I become better? Like my website, he's very good at making websites, and his website, if you guys want to find him, he has a website in the description. Please check it out. This is where you can find him, right? Keep up with this charity. Like just keep up with him, right? I don't want this episode to be it, and that's all you see from him. Go follow him. Everything is on the website. You can see his socials and everything that he's doing, his charity, which is still a work in progress, but right, like everything you're doing, you can go follow
Eventually,
him.
soon will be coming out.
So if you want to see him, go there. But him and I, for the past like 5 hours in the span of a couple days, have just talked about like everything. He's very good at making websites, and he's like, "Oh man, here, like this is your website. Like you and I, we got to do this and this. This is what you should do. Look at these templates here. Use." And I'm like, "Bro, what the heck? Like I overlooked this stuff, right?" But like again, like that's who you find, right? When you can sit with someone for hours and just talk about like how to be better, like that's the people you want. Because I'll tell you what, these 5 hours have been super beneficial for me, as opposed to hanging out with 5 hours of just some random kids when we're just laughing and joking. You don't get anything from it. You walk away like, ha, we had some laughs and that's it. But on this call, I'm telling you, literally after him and I called, I redid my website. I had to because I was like, dude, like you're a genius. And it's not perfect, obviously. He says that we're going to call and we're going to figure it out. But bro, like I did this and I'm like, dude, okay, this is what I need to do, right? Networking, right? I'm already like, dude, I need to look at some networking events, right? Let me like, it's awesome. Like, let me see what I can do now. So, like, this, it might suck to like, again, I've always heard this, and it's like, it's better to have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. Like, which is already to have 4 good friends than 100 loser friends that like really don't matter. So, that's why it's important, dude, because I'll tell you what, out of these 5 hours I've talked to you, I've gained more than I could have been watching YouTube or scrolling Instagram, you know. So it's very important, and if you guys would love to keep up with Enzo, his website's in the description. But I wanted to ask you, like, so what do you do for work, right? You said like I've had money to do this, and you had your first car, and so how old were you when you started working, and what did you start doing?
So, um, this has been I've been through quite roller coaster with when it came to what I do for a living. I tried almost everything. You see, I tried the e-commerce, I tried the pre-selling, I tried all these YouTuber gurus. Oh, try this, try that. So I tried most of them, and most of them, to be honest, most of them failed. But after I analyzed my CT and what I know and what skills I have and what skills I don't have, I realized there's a gap in the market when it came to documents. And I decided to hit hard in that gap by sitting outside. I had some business cards created. I think I can still show you one
Yeah.
if I have it here. And I decided to sit outside for 5 6 hours a day in front of other agencies who did documents, giving out business cards to people. And eventually it hit, and it got me a bunch of clients eventually over time. It wasn't instant, nothing is instant in life, but over time it got me what I needed. The idea came back when I just freshly turned 16, and then I really stuck on it. This was the business cards I gave out to people. I still have a bunch left, but I had around 1,000 something, and I gave them all out. And this is my market. This is how it worked. People say I could have been smarter in new social media, but my customers, they don't trust social media, so I have to use word of mouth and in person type of services. So that's why how I started. I was 16, and it's trust me, it's hard when when you're competing with people who've been doing this their whole life, and I just came in fresh into the industry and try my best by just I was just hustling. I was a true hustler. I was hustling every day after school. I went there, and keep in mind I was working a normal job at night time, a night shift for 12 hours a day, and then I went to school as well during the day, and then for the little time that I had free, I tried to give out business cards, or I begged my friends to go out and give the business cards to Romanians or whoever they see that they need documents or they look worried about documents. And eventually it kicked off. It kicked off, and it worked very well for me for some time. And then I had to change that. So it's been highs and lows. In every business, high and lows. But in this one I've been doing, it's been quite high highs and very low lows. And this is due to the fact that maybe I had some. It's very seasonal work. So maybe when people come into the country, yes, there's specific seasons when they come in, and there's specific seasons when they're not here. So I have to adapt to that, and I have to understand that all right, this month is gonna be good, but next month is probably not.
See, that's awesome. So 16, man, like I know for me, right? Like I was super young going door to door, man. I was 11 years old. And the reason I got told no, bro, is because this little kid is not going to be able to handle this big equipment. Like this stuff was bigger than me, bro. Like I was like half my size, dude. So like for me, like I was just so young, so that's why I got told no a lot. Like for you being 16, right? And where these other agencies are probably more experienced, a lot older. Like how were you so confident in yourself at that young age that you knew like it doesn't matter, like someone's going to tell me yes, right? How did you kind of push through that in the sense of like not letting your age or not letting anything like get in the way of that?
It was quite hard. It wasn't easy because like I didn't have a lot of confidence in me. Because at the time I was also very fat, and I'm not I'm not ashamed to say that I was quite fat at the time. And when you're fat, you don't have as much confidence. That's why I tried to lose weight. At the time, I had 120 kg, and at 16, that's quite a lot. And I didn't have the confidence, but I tried my best as much as I could, because I knew if it kicked off, then I would be able to make good money out of it, and at the same time I'll be able to help people, because I loved helping people. And this idea of doing documents, also, the one of the true reasons and the main reasons why I really thought about the documents is because when I came here, we went to one of these document agencies, and we got messed up by them. They took our documents, they wouldn't give them back to us. We couldn't speak English, so they just they just played with us. And obviously, because it was just me and my mom, that was a big struggle for us, because moving to a country that is unknown, and now these people are taking our documents, is not the best start we can have. And this is dealing with vulnerable people, and they played us, and they took advantage of us, and I do not want that on anyone. That's why I said, why don't I start doing it, but actually help them, and not pretend to help them, and then play them behind their back.
Hmm. Yeah. So for you, like, especially so you kind of like see like other people, like what you had to go through. So like you started your own, so that people don't have to deal with all that. They can go through you, a trustworthy person, so that they can make sure that their documents are good. And documents, like, what would you do? Like, what do you do documents for? For the people that don't know, like, what do you write documents for?
So documents for foreigners, when they come here, they might need to apply for some specific documents, like a settlement, for a settlement scheme. So I help them go through the process, because maybe they need some help translating some of the words there, so I just translate it for them. Or maybe they need help understanding exactly the documents they need, and then I just tell them, look, this is what you need. Do you have it or no? If not, let's try fix this and get them get them all done. So I help people when it comes to, if they want to live in this country, they need the documents, and I if they have everything, then I can help them. If not, then unfortunately, I'm not doing any shady business, so they have to go on their own way.
Hmm. That's awesome. So, like for you, like especially so, like you didn't write your documents when you came here, right? You had someone else do it. So like how for you
Yes.
did you think, okay, I'm gonna be good enough to write documents for someone? Like how did you think like, oh, documents, this is what it needs, I'm gonna do it.
So luckily here in UK, you have a government website, and everything you apply online. So it's not, I don't have to write anything. I just have to complete forms online. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. I didn't know how to do that when I came here, and many people don't know how to do that. It's quite easy, but due to the fact that it's not very known to people, especially to foreigners, because it's not quite common where you can apply for a passport online. You cannot do that in most countries. You have to go in person. But here you can do this type of things, or you can apply for a settlement scheme, or you can apply for help from the government, all online. And people don't know that. So I had to basically sit 12 hours a day on my laptop and learn the government website in and out, and then just offer my help. It's a skill I had to learn.
That's awesome. So you talk about, man, you had a car, you did this, right? All from documents. So what was your first car?
My first car was an Audi S3 from 2005. It
That's awesome.
was a very fun car as a first car. It was amazing. Everyone loved it. That's why they were friends with me again. But it was very fun. It was fun. I recently sold it because I've bought a new one, and now the S5,
What year?
almost new. It's 2020.
That's
So
awesome, bro.
we're leveling up a bit. We're leveling up a bit. Now I've got a motorcycle coming up soon. As you know, I told you about it. I've got Kawasaki coming soon, and yeah, it's been going well, and it's been going bad at the same time. It's one of them months where maybe this month is going well and next month is not.
So you work for yourself. Like this is like all you do is documents. Like you don't have another job outside of it. This is all you strictly do, right?
I used to have another job. I used to do security, but because I love security is more of communicating with people. So I do love communicating with people, and I do love the fact of helping people. But due to the fact of me having through going through some uh, struggles right now with an ex-partner who has falsely accused me of some crazy crimes. Because of that, I stopped doing security because it just put me in a public place where she might show up, and I've had quite a few experiences where she just chased me around in town shouting defamatory names, and I just decided it's better for me to just not do that anymore and just stick to my own.
So you're making like money, right? You're able to buy. You've with just documents. You bought 2 Audis. You got a motorcycle. Your watch on your wrist. How much did you pay for that?
So at the time I paid 14,000, but now it's gone down in price to 10,000.
And what's the watch called?
It's a Rolex Oyster. If you search it up, it's black. It's all black because I love black. As you can tell, everything here is black, including my robe. So, yeah, I'm not trying to flex, but if I was hanging out with the same people I was hanging in school, I probably wouldn't have this, and I probably wouldn't have this either. So, this is just another proof, something that proves me I'm right. It proves myself. I like to prove myself that I'm right. And this is one of the main things that says, you know what, I was right. Because if I was hanging with the same people, the exact people I was hanging with, they still either don't even drive or they drive some car. So the fact that I drive this and they drive nothing, or they drive something that just gets them A to B, just proves my point that you have to level up your network.
Dude, that's awesome. So you said ex-partner and all that. So like, right? I'm sure for you, like, I'm sure like not every, obviously, other relationships haven't worked out. So like, what would you say to like someone that's young, that like all they want is like a relationship, that they're willing to settle for the first person that tells them yes? Like, what would you tell them? Hey, I wouldn't get into a relationship, or like how would you like tell them to get into a relationship, but a good one, not a crappy one that's gonna end horribly?
Yeah. So from my I love the idea of getting into a relationship, and I love spoiling the girls I'm with. The girlfriend I have right now, she's going out every week. She's getting gifts almost every week. So yeah, I do love spoiling the person I'm with, and I've done that all the time, whenever whoever I was with. But it's not a good idea to do because you're too young, and you're too young for relationships. You first need to focus on yourself. You cannot be into relationships when you don't even have a car. What do you have going for yourself? You live with your mom, you have no car, you have maybe a nice phone, and that's all. But what's a nice phone? What's a nice phone gonna do into a relationship? You have to think about it. You want a girlfriend? Yes. You want a relationship? I understand. But if you're not in a position to be able to afford it, then just don't be. It's better to just keep yourself to yourself until you can afford it, and also until you find the right person. Because sometimes you'll have a person who pretends to be the right one, and then once you're in a relationship with them, you're gonna be stuck with them. That's what happened with me. And they pretended to be the person that I was looking for, and then once I got with them, they changed completely, and I couldn't leave them because they would threaten that they were gonna harm themselves. And that's a horrible situation to be in. And as a guy who's loving, because I'm not someone who doesn't care about the person I'm with, and I'm pretty sure anyone in my situation would have, who thinks like me, would have stayed with a person, but eventually that's gonna come and bite you in the same way it beat me, and I'll have to deal with all these other problems just because I was nice.
So like, how did you like, right? Like, you have a girlfriend now. Like, I'm sure obviously you guys are still together, so she's not horrible. So how did you find her? And like, not only that, but how did you know that, like, this girl, I see that she does this. Like, how did you know that she was the one?
So you never truly know if a person is the one. Everyone is replaceable to some extent, but this girl I'm with, she is very nice, and there's a lot of women in my life who are very high quality because that's who I'm settling for from now on. I did lower my standards in the past just because of the fact that I was fat, and now that, yeah, I'm still not the best looking, but I've got some of my money up, and because of that I have to look for a better woman, and you'll find them, but not online. You won't find them online. At least I didn't find them online. You won't find them in the clubs. You won't find them in your little friend group at school. And every guy can truly see. I think if a guy says that, oh, she's nice, but she does this, so they see the bad things in the girl, but they just ignore it. So a guy has to learn how to just, if you see something that you don't like, cut it off. You don't need to be with that person. If you think he's not gonna go wrong with your standards and with your um
Morals, right? Like you
what
were
was the
saying.
word, with your morals, yes, then just don't be with them because it's just gonna be a conflict 24/7. I'll give you a perfect example. I was with this person, and like I said, I don't do drugs and I don't drink alcohol. But this person wanted to party every week, and wanted to smoke weed every day, and that does not align with my morals. It was not happy, and I was not happy with that. And as much as I try to explain, like, this is not healthy for your future, this is not going to. Some people just don't change. So with them type of people, you just have to drop them.
So after, like, if someone's in a relationship and like their woman's doing this and they don't agree with it, like they should talk to them about it. And then if nothing changes, just it's better not to go that route. Would you say?
Yeah, if I think if you see something you don't like and you're already in the relationship with the person, you can tell them, look, I love you with all my heart, and I see that this the, this thing you're doing, it really bothers me, and I'm not trying to change you. I'm just trying to say that this is affecting us. And then if the person decides, you know what, that's right, let's try fix it, and they actually fix it, then they should stay. But if not, there's no change in it, and they just there's many ways of them saying we're not gonna change, but I'm pretty sure you can tell when they're gonna change and when they're not. And if they're
Mm-hmm.
not, just drop them. Just say, look, I tried it. I really don't want this to work out. I want this to work out, but it can't. So
Mm-hmm.
it's better if we go separate ways. That's the best way of doing it.
That's awesome, man. Hey, that's some really good advice. So speaking of advice, man, if out of the whole takeaway, I do have some more questions, but like, if somebody asked you, some random guy was like, came up to you like, "Yo, Enzo, what is one piece of life advice you could give me?" What would you tell them?
Stop hanging around with degenerates who waste your time and they waste their life. And be careful who you make your partner, because that either lifts you up or brings you down. And I'm saying this because I had someone who tried to bring me down and is still trying 24/7 to bring me down, and I have someone who's trying to lift me up. So I see the both sides. I see the black and I see the white. So obviously there's gray areas, but that just don't be in a gray area, because that's just not a comfortable and not the ideal position to be in. You like to know what's gonna happen, and if you have someone who's doesn't want the best for you, then just don't be with them, because they're not worth your time. As much as you might think, yeah, but I'm no one, and I'm lucky to have them. If they mistreat you, just don't be with them.
I like that's some good advice. So like, what would you say? Like, right, man, you've 19 years. You know, you've had many of ups and many downs and many just like rough times, right? You say like there's slow seasons. There's just like life's like all in between. So like, what would you say? Like, what were like one of your biggest obstacles you've had to face with like business or like just life experience? Like, what is something that's like a big hurdle you had to face?
Like like I said, the big hurdle I had to face was when I had to drop all these people I thought they were my friends, and I had to mature up, because I cannot stay a kid for the rest of my life. Sure, I still have to have my fun, and that's why I have a nice car, and I still go out and maybe go to a nice shisha, and maybe go have a nice coffee or some nice food. I love eating nice food, so that's my fun. And for me, it was easy to do this fun because, like I said, some people maybe are addicted to other things and that's their fun, but that was not my thing. So it's easy for me to find fun in more simpler and more healthier ways. But it was, yeah, just thinking about these people that I was hanging with. They were not the best, and I had to change them. But I was scared because I didn't know how to make new friends. But eventually, now, what's your watch? Where's your A5? So yeah, sometimes you just gotta be like that, you know. Sometimes it's gonna be like, you know what, I might think you're good friends, but I can see you're doing bad things, so I just have to drop you and then level up myself. Because if they don't want to change, they don't want to change.
So you would say, like, right, again, if you look at, like, and we're not calling out names, but if you look at people that still hang around with the same people and you see that they're still in the same spot they were during high school, you're kind of like, I'm thankful that I dropped them because straight away, right? You're looking at them where they have nothing, and you're looking at you where you have the car, you have the motorcycle, you have the watch, you have the setup, you have anything you want, right? So, and right, even for you, like, dude, like you have, right, you have, instead of where they have friends, you have valuable people in your life, right? While they have the first girl that said yes to them as a girlfriend, right? You have someone that treats you good, right? Or, hey, like, I drive no car, but you actually have a nice car. You know, like all these different things. It's kind of like you're, because you strayed away from those people, you're like the complete opposite of everything that they have.
If I was still with them, I would have been in the same place as them. Because I would have never leveled up. I would have never met these people. I would have never leveled up and started making money through these ways I'm making money now. And I would have been stuck with them, still thinking about, oh, let's have what are we gonna do tomorrow? Oh yeah, we're gonna link at this guy's house and they're gonna smoke and they're gonna drink and we're gonna play on PS4 or PS5 or we're gonna watch this series. It's just waste of time. It's a waste of time, and these people they just don't think. It just seems like they don't think.
Yeah, for sure. So like, especially in that moment, man. Like, I know for me, like when I got pulled out of school and I became homeschooled, like I was very scared, man, because it's like now I go from school and I have a social circle to now I'm being pulled out and I have literally no one. I have no one that's gonna want to talk to me. I have no one that's texting me. I have no one that's this. I have no like I was losing a lot. And at the time, I thought I was losing everything. But obviously now, doing everything that I'm doing, I haven't lost a single thing. Those people that are in school are losing, and bro, I'm having an amazing life, right? So I see that and with that, but you know, for the beginning, like those first couple months, man, like those were like a really low point in my life. So for you, like, how were you like able to drop those people? And like I'm sure you felt lonely at times. Like what got you through those lonely moments to be able to grow your business and get all the things that you wanted?
So this is again a very good question. One of the things that got me through those times where I felt lonely was finding these little hobbies. I tried to learn something new each month, and I started reading a lot of books. My library of books is now over 280 books that I've read all of them, and that really helped me go through those times, and also open my eyes to different areas of my life, mentally and also financially and all around. It was an overall good experience. Reading books was probably one of the best decisions I've made so far in my life.
Right, instead of focusing on partying with these people, you were focused on, okay, I'm gonna read this book and see what I can learn from it, right? Like learning these like different aspects. Like I've read a couple books in my life and like, right, some are like, dude, this is good, and someone's like, okay, this isn't bad. Like for you, if someone's like, okay, I don't want to hang out with these people, right? You're saying reading books is good, right? You say over 280 books. Like, what would you say that was like one of the books that you read were like, bro, this is it. Like, this is like what really helped me.
One of the books that I've read, which was very nice and very helpful for my mentality and the way I think, was As a Man Thinketh. Now, I don't have that book with me because I let my friend borrow it because I do encourage them to read. But one of my second favorite ones was this one here, The Art of War. Now, I'm not getting sponsored or anything, even though I wish. But this book was very, very nice, and you can see I have highlights in them and stuff, because I do love to do some highlights in the most important stuff,
Hmm.
and then I make notes on them. And I have quite a lot of notebooks there where I just make notes for my books. And I really suggest As a Man Thinketh. You can probably leave a link in the bio
Okay. Yeah, I
about
got you.
the title and the writer. And yeah, I recommend every man should read that book because it's a short book. It's only got like 60 pages, and you can probably finish that in an hour or two. And the information in that book is so much information in such a small book, which is amazing. I've read books who are over 500 pages, and they didn't feel as useful as that little one.
Alrighty, yeah, I haven't read that book, and I'll make sure to give it a check. I'll make sure to look like dude. I have probably about 20 books that people have sent me to read, so I'm kind of like having to catch up. But for sure, yeah, dude, I think I've listened to a couple books, and one book I want to shout out is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. Like that book was probably like it's about leadership, right? And it's like more like like there's like extreme ownership. Like okay, like that's my bad. Like as a leader, right? When you're leading people, like it's not like oh well, why didn't you freaking plug in this thing to this one, right? Or like something stupid. Like instead of like harping on them, it's like oh I'm sorry, I didn't effectively communicate that. Like it's like, and they put it like they were in the military, and they talk about like the situation that they use in war and how you can apply it to business. And for me, that was a big book because I know for me, before I read the book, I was very like, well, I didn't do it. That was you, bro. Like, why didn't you freaking do it? Like, I didn't do that, right? Or well, you didn't show me how to do it. Instead of like taking accountability and being like, you know what, man? Like, I messed up. Like, I'm sorry that I didn't effectively show you, right? I'm sorry that like I made you feel like you couldn't come to me because of XYZ, right? I'm right because like if someone messes up and they don't show, like instead of being like harping on them and they come to you finally, or like you come to them and it's like I'm sorry that you felt like you couldn't come. It's like what the frick? I thought you were gonna yell at me. Instead, but right, which is like what I would have turned to anger before, where it's like it's my fault. And when I think as a man, everything that you do, you should take as your fault because that's the only way you can change it. For me, like when I was younger, I used to blame everybody else. Where like, well, I didn't do it, he did it. Like now I'm scot free. But when I started taking things into, you know what, I messed up, or you know what, like that's my bad. We do a lot of rental, like a remodel work in Nogales, and there's so many times like, who left the paint open, or who put this too close to the heater and it bursted, instead of like blaming it or being like, well, I didn't know. It's like, you know what, I'm sorry, that's my bad, and I'm not perfect, but it's helped me like understand on like how to like take more responsibility. So that's a good book, and as for you, As a Man Thinketh, like 60 pages. The other book is a lot longer, but 60 pages, I feel like that is very easy for anyone to read. So that is a good book, and I'll
Yeah.
make sure that I check it out and leave the links below. But what else, man? We've already been over an hour 13. See, I told you, man. I told you it was going to go by quick, and the beginning gets slow, but it goes pretty fast.
Yeah, it goes pretty fast. It does. It only felt like 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I want to hear more from you. I feel like I spoke too much.
No, not at all, man. Seriously, bro, it's a podcast. If anyone wants to know about me, they can check these other episodes, man. Like, I want to hear about you, and like, for you, looking back at everything you've done, like, what was something you think you would do differently? Maybe like, I wish I started documents sooner, or maybe I wish I did this, or maybe I like, what is like a couple things or one thing or however many you got, like of something you wish that like looking back, no regrets. And I'm not saying you regret anything, but I know for me there's a lot of situations where it's like, dude, looking back, I would have never done this. Like, what are some moments that you got?
What I would have done differently is not give my attention and my energy to the wrong people. A lot of my energy, like mental energy, has been given to the wrong people because I try to help them and some people just don't change, man. And it took me some time to learn that, and they just don't change. And that was just my friends, the guy friends that I had, because obviously at the end, if I have a guy friend, I'm looking at him as my brother, and I want the best for him. And it's sad to see when they refuse the help. It's really sad, but you can't change that. And I've wasted a lot of energy on those type of people when I shouldn't have.
So that's really good. I feel like the circle that you have is really like a big influence. I know for me, like, it's crazy. When I was in fourth grade, I was in a class, okay, and dude, these kids were bad, bro. one kid had anger issues, and he would freaking pound the desk, and he'd hit his head on the locker. And now we got these other kids talking while the teacher's talking. Like, literally, I could not do, like, that was, like, probably one of the hardest times of, like, being in school and frustrated and, like, just, like, all these different emotions, you know. I just switched to a new school, so it was just insane. And I know for me, like, looking back at, like, everything, like, that was a dark point for me. And, like, looking back, I wouldn't have held on to those people. Like, you know, like, for you saying, like, guys, like, for me, like, I've always tried to help everyone, like, more and more and more. But looking back, it's kind of like, I wish I would have taken those moments, you know, and just, like, responded instead of, like, reacting. Like, I was, like, seriously, that was probably, I was a menace then. Like, I was rude to my parents. I was just, like, in this whole facade, like, this whole, like, moment, I was like, I'm a bad boy. Like, I'm gonna be like these kids, you know. When I wish that I would have held on to who I was, because now that I am holding on to who I am, it's just better. Maybe you don't fit in with the people that are your age, but I'm, like, hanging out with all these adults that are, like, business owners, and I'm asking them questions and, like, yo, man, like, we should get together sometime, man, like, have a coffee and just, like, see, like, how did you start your business? You know, like, I'm getting more feedback from the people that are more important rather than hanging out and being this bad kid with the people that didn't matter. So if anyone takes anything away from this, like, if you look at your friends, okay, and let's say they're vaping, right? That's a big thing here, and I've never done any of that stuff, but a lot of kids are vaping now and they're doing drugs and all this stuff. But if you look at those kids and what they're doing now, that is who you are going to be in 10 years from now, 20 years from now. That's who you're going to be in the future. So just remember that. If that's who you want to be, bro, like, I need people that work at McDonald's that can give me my food. I need people that are going to work the businesses I start. But if you want to be better and you want to better yourself and you want to be a business owner and you want to, like, look at Enzo, man. He's bought 2 cars and he has a nice watch and you can see his PC tower and a nice mic and a nice setup, and he's bought books and all these things. Like, if you look at him and that's who you want to be, bro, it wasn't from working a 9 to 5, was it? It was from doing something yourself.
No, it was not. Yeah, it was something that I had to go through, experience and realize and build myself. And that's the best way of doing it, is building it yourself. I don't like losing, so I like competition, and I'm a very uh, a very competitive person. So if I have to go through something, I will make sure I'm the best the best that they could find. So I mastered the whole government website, so I can apply for anything out of my head, and that's what helped me. And hopefully, who knows what the future will bring. But I'm trying to build a legacy. I'm trying to build the fact that I am here to help people. I am not here to, now, sure, if I make money out of that, sure, that helps me. But my goal at the end is helping people, and I want to help whoever I can help. That's why I'm going to start this charity for single mothers, and I'm going to help as many as I can, with as much as I can, because I've been through the struggle, and I know how it feels. I know how my mom felt. I know how it is to see your mom crying every night, and I know how it is to see your mom being abused by a man. And I do not wish on that. I do not wish that to anybody, even my worst enemies. And even if, who knows, people who I don't like will come there, I will still help them, because that is who I am. And eventually in the future, who knows, maybe I can help them with jobs, maybe I can help them with mental health. Who knows what's gonna bring, but I will make sure this charity will bring as much help as it can to anyone in this area, or hopefully it'll go national. And if it does go national, then it's gonna be amazing. I'm trying to build an empire, and I'm trying to build an empire of helping people and actually helping them. I like to call myself a proficient in managing problems, so I'm trying to fix as many problems as I can, regardless of what they are. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll have more businesses and more things to start. But until that day, I'm going to stick with my plan that I have for now and fight whatever legal fights I have to fight until everything goes well, because I'm never gonna give up.
That's awesome, bro. And I think it's so perfect that you said that because I have some questions. So, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? And like, what do you want for your life? And like, what do you see? It's like for you, like, right? I want to be more successful. I want this. And then like, what is your action plan for that?
I want to have a bigger networking, and I want to have a bigger, like I said, I want to build a legacy, and I want to build an empire. Now, that doesn't matter if it's here, in another country, or globally. I want to build something that's gonna have a legacy with my name on it. And in 5 years, hopefully, the charity will go well. It looks like it's gonna go well. Now, I'm expecting some obstacles like every other business, but if it goes well, and I'm pretty sure it will, then I'm looking to expand it by having multiple businesses, which I'm not gonna get into it yet because this is quite far away and things always change. I never in my life thought I'm gonna start a charity. This just happened coincidentally that I realized, wait, this is something that can really help people and can help me too.
Mm-hmm.
So you can never tell what's gonna happen in the future. You just have to go with a plan. I know what's gonna happen now, and I have the next few months planned out. And once it kicks off or doesn't, I'll do something else. Because even if it doesn't kick off, I will start doing something else because I'll never stop.
That's awesome, bro. I really think like hearing your story, right? And we'll get back to your childhood in a sec, but like hearing you talking about, man, like my mom was on the streets, my mom had to work this, and like she, like, you gotta think, bro, like she sacrificed everything for you. Even asking you, bro, where do you want to go? Like, she was willing to put herself like on the line so that you could be happy. And I love my mother because my mother does the same exact thing. And you know, I love all my parents, but like I know my mother would die for me today, and I love my parents for that. But you know, for you, like with her, like you see her struggle. Like I think it's so awesome that you see that she was struggling, and not only that you saw that she was going through that, but saw that there wasn't a lot of help. You're trying to like shelter, like you're trying to find shelter, and all these people are getting in the way. Like you see this side of things where, dude, all I need is help, and you can't get it. So I think with your charity, trying to help people that really can't get help, I think it's truly amazing, bro. And I really see what like your vision, and I think it's gonna go good. Alrighty, we're back from the break, but I wanted to ask you, so like with your parents, right? Right, getting divorced at a young age, like, and you're an only child, so like, how did you like deal with that? Like, who did you go to? Like, how did that all like play out for you?
It was a hard times because I didn't have anyone who has been through their parents divorcing at the time, and it was just me and my mom, and it was a rough time. It wasn't a very friendly terms type of divorce. It was a lot of arguments, a lot of abuse, and it was just an overall not great experience. But I just found it through hoping for the future. It was just something that I just hoped for. I was too young to have a good thinking and good understanding about it, but at the time I was just hoping. I had hope in my mom that she's gonna fight through this because I know my mom is exactly like me. She will fight whatever life throws her way, and I'm the same way. So that's where me and her are very similar and very alike. That's why I wasn't quite worried because I know she will fight through whatever she needs to.
That's awesome, bro. So like with you, like now having your dad, and I know for me, like my dad, right? Obviously, like my both my parents, but like obviously for me trying to become a good man, right? I talked to my father and my grandfather and like a lot of different like men, like to like learn how to be better. Like how did you like, so like without having to, like with you, like not like a role model that you could look up to, like how did you how did you like kind of like figure out life without like anyone to, like any man to teach you how to become a man?
Yeah, it's hard, it's not easy. It's hard, and I know a lot of people nowadays are struggling with this, with growing up without a dad or growing up without a parent. It's hard. It's not easy, and I know it. I know it's not easy, and I know it's it's easier to find comfort by doing other things that give you comfort, but in reality they're very bad for you. Because I know, if I did probably alcohol or drugs, I would probably at the time feel better about my situation, but in the grand scheme of things, that wouldn't help. And I think it was just more of a it's a slower it's a slower route. It slows things down quite a lot because you don't have I didn't have a dad there who can show me how to tie a tie or how to shave my beard or things like that. I didn't have a dad to do that, so for me it was more of a step by step. Luckily, I had my mom who played the role both of a dad and mom, who tried to teach the best that she can, and I think she did a pretty good job. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm still not on drugs, I'm still not on alcohol, and I'm doing pretty good for myself. So I think she's done a great job, and I think a lot of mothers try their best, but it's just the kids who are affected by the other people they chill with who has a negative impact on the relationship with their parents. But in
Yeah.
those times, if your parents break up, you have to think about this. Your mom or dad, whoever you're gonna end up with, needs you as much as you need them. Because think about it, these people, they've been together for years and now they're gonna break up and they have a kid, they have you, they need someone. And in my situation, my mom didn't have anyone, she only had me. So I had to be her person and help her as much as I can which with whatever she needed. And a lot of people need to understand this thing, that your parents are humans too, they need someone too. Now they might not act like it, but trust me, deep down they need someone. Every person needs someone. You'll see, every person, you need someone, your friends need someone, your girlfriend needs someone, and she has you and her parents. So every person needs another person to be with.
That's awesome, bro. Well, that's all the questions I have. If there's any other questions or things you want to say, man, this is your spot. But I feel like everything we talked about was very beneficial.
I think before I go, I just want to give one message to your audience, I think, and then we can end this off.
Yes, sir.
The last message I want to give to you guys is focus on what you want to do. If your parents don't support you with what you want to do, because there is cases like that, try to do it in a way that helps them. You gotta understand they grew up in a different society with different uh, things growing up. We have now all digital age. This is the digital age. Look now, right now, me and him are talking online, but 20 years ago, 10 years ago, you couldn't do this. So you have to understand their visions. They don't understand you. They don't understand these things as much as we understand them. So you have to correlate with them. You have to help them understand. And don't hang out with people who are not for you. If you see someone doing things that you don't agree with, tell them. And if they don't want to help themselves, then don't try. Just find someone else. There's plenty of people out there. Plenty. And even with personal relationships, friendships, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever you are into, just if you see something you don't like, say it. And if they don't want to change, leave them. Even if they're gonna try to manipulate you into staying with them, trust me, it's better to just leave, because that will come and bite you in the end.
Yeah, and again, not even like to leave.
Stop dealing with degenerates.
That's a good message. And even like the leaving, right? It's not even like you're leaving for a bad reason. Like, I know for me, I haven't had technically any relationships, but I've had quote unquote dating relationships behind. And for me, I know before, right, before the situation I'm in now, which is a very good one, and I'm a very lucky guy. But I know before I was like, right, again, it was by the time I was gonna be pulled out of school, and this girl said like, "Oh, I like you," and so I jumped on it, dude. I did really not like I was just so like, this is my last opportunity, this is all I have, so I jumped on it. And looking back, I wish I would have like stayed true to my values, stayed true to what I would have wanted, because at the end of the day, it ended poorly. and not to say that everyone's same situation will, but like if their priorities aren't if like you have priorities and those aren't their priorities, well then someone's gonna have to compromise. Either they are gonna have to do what you want, or you're gonna have to do. And typically, you usually end up doing what they want. So at the end of the day, bro, just stay focused on you. When I was stopped worried about like getting any friends, and I stopped worried about dating, and I stopped worried about everything else, that's when all the positive people came to me. So when I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna work on making money. I'm just gonna work on my side hustle. I'm gonna work on everything else. That's when all the positive stuff started to happen in my life. So maybe the reason that you're still stuck with the same people, you can't find a girlfriend, you can't find this, maybe you need to, right, get out of that situation and become in a better situation, because the better you are, the better options you have. So I think that's a good place to wrap it up, bro.
And I think you should also add that because we did talk about them needed to improve themselves and improve their circles, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna have a lot of questions about how to do this, because it's a hard process. I don't understand. So if you guys need in the future, or if you guys want to, maybe we'll manage something in the future of going through doing like a little step by step of how it could be done, because eventually you need to know how to carry yourself. I know you've made a video about it, but that's very important, how to carry yourself, what you're wearing, how you present yourself online, things like that. Because now, like I said, we live in a digital age, and if you want to improve your network, you have to be presentable, and you cannot be presentable if your post on Instagram or Facebook look like this. You know what I mean? Because some people out there just trying to gang. If someone's gonna look at you and they will not want to do anything with you and relate to you. So if you need something like that, maybe we can work on something in the future where we do like a little tutorial or something like that.
Right now, if any of you guys are in a position where, if you guys have even stuck around for this hour and a half, 2 hour, almost 2 hour call, right? If you guys are still here, it shows that whoever's still here, it shows that you want to do better, because you listened to us talk and just listened. Like, if you guys are listening, it already shows, right? You guys are already making that first step into becoming better, right? But for me, like, it's like a teacher, bro. Like, when a teacher shows you how to do a math problem, like, you don't know how to do it until you do it. So the next step, man, like, seriously, I'm not trying to push anything, but like, join the course, because if you guys join, I will hop on a call with you and I will coach you, bro. I will even have Enzo on there, bro. We will talk to you, bro, and we will kind of coach you and develop you, right? Maybe you're in UK and you need documents, or maybe like you're trying to do this, or maybe you're right, maybe you want to do like your own little side hustle, right? Like, whatever it is, man, like, we will coach you through it. So next step, check out Side Hustle University, and I'm telling you, bro, like, I'm guaranteed, right? I can't speak for what you do, but for me, bro, I'm guaranteed to make you $100 plus a month, easy, bro. Like, easy. Off of one person, you're already making this. Like, so if you guys want to like level up, right, become better in a friend, like, dude, like, when you start making money, I'm sure for you, when I started working and making money, I realized that my time was so valuable that it wasn't worth wasting it on dumb stuff. Thank you guys for watching this episode. If you guys made it this far, I really appreciate you guys. If you did make it this far and you are interested in joining the course, use code HUSTLER, all capitals, HUSTLER. That'll get you 30% off of your first month, and you will see how to start your own side hustle, how you can do crazy things. When I've been working, and when I was 14, almost turning 15, I bought my own truck. And I make enough money where I bought shoes to match the color of my truck. And, like, just stupid things, dude. You can make as much money. You can make stupid money. You can make as much money as you want to make. And the only way to do that is to learn how to make your own money. You're not going to make tons of money from a 9 to 5. You're not going to make tons of money from working for someone else. You need to start your own side hustle to make the most amount of money you can. And if you are watching this right now, I know that you already want to make your own money. So check out the website. Enzo, thank you so much for hopping on the podcast. I had an amazing time, and stay tuned because I have a couple more interviews lined up, and it's going to be awesome. So thank you guys for watching. You guys have a good day. Be safe, and hopefully I see you in the course. Have a good one.